Hi.
Hi, I'm Andy.
I'm Nancy.
Welcome back. Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.
I don't know what else there is in there.
Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day. I'm not really sure.
This video covers most of last winter and our trips back and forth across the United States.
Yeah, we had a bit of an adventure. We had some fun along the way. I don't know if fun is actually the right word for that.
Yeah. We both spent the month of November working for former employees in Minnesota. I put tires on because it's like the busiest month at a shop I used to work at for tires, and she actually did most of the work.
Yeah, I did spruce tips. If you don't know what spruce tips are, there will be a link to a video that I made on the other channel in the description down below. And then there's also a link to the channel at the end of the video. So if you're still around then, click there. But that's what I did, and it was exhausting. It wasn't much of a break, which is why it was nice to finally head somewhere a little bit warm and a little bit different.
Yeah. The month of December it was.
December.
Yeah, we spent in North Carolina.
The kids and I had never been to the ocean before, and Andy had. So that was one of the places that we went. And it just so happens that one of the places Allison really wanted to go to, actually the way I was able to bribe her to come visit us for Christmas, is Wilmington. And it just happens to be on the ocean. Look at all the pelicans. Not everybody knows that Wilmington, North Carolina is a really big filming location, but Allison did. That's actually how we were able to bribe her to come down for Christmas, was that we told her we were going to go to Tree Hill or Cape Side or Wilmington, because it was all of those, or both of those places. It was a lot of other places as well. Empire Records was filmed there. I hadn't realized that Empire Records was filmed there until we went there. But we made a couple of stops. We actually saw where Empire Records was filmed, but we didn't take any pictures or videos because, you know, it didn't look like Empire Records. We stopped at Karen's Cafe. We stopped at Keith Scott's Auto Shop. We stopped at Brooke Davis's house. It was a really cool trip, actually. Lots of fun.
We had planned to spend the whole winter, at least through March, in North Carolina and Tennessee. Way warmer places than we ended up.
Yeah, that was a little bit unexpected.
On the way back to Minnesota, we stopped at Covington, Georgia. I had no idea what Covington, Georgia was before stopping there, but...
He knew what it was after he Googled it, though. When I told him I wanted to stop there, well, Allison asked us if we'd stop there on our way to North Carolina. She happened to ask us literally the day after we drove through the dang place, and I didn't even realize that we had driven through it. So I knew that on the way back home we had to stop there, and she didn't get to come with us because she went back to Ohio. So sorry if you're wondering where Covington, Georgia, or what Covington, Georgia is. It is a fairly well-known filming location for some people. If you watched Vampire Diaries or Sweet Magnolias, or
I watched In the Heat of the Night with my mom.
Yep, or
and Dukes of Hazzard was filmed there.
Yeah, the town hall building, is that what it is? The courthouse or whatever it is, but it's a big building with the clock tower. We've got a picture in here. Yeah. We stopped there. It was pretty cool. Rainy, wet,
Yeah.
a little bit chilly, but pretty because they still had all the lights up because it was right after Christmas. So all the lights were up in the tree in the square.
We got to Iowa. The bus did not like it when it got below 0, and we were less than a mile from where we needed to be, where we had planned to be, and pulled off the interstate, and the bus just stopped right there. I had anti-gel in the fuel, but it was still fuel I had bought in the south. I thought it was gelled fuel. Put more anti-gel in, and I put a new fuel filter on.
Yeah, thank God for the fact that at the bottom of the ramp that we stopped at was the truck stop we were going to stop at, and there was a truck shop just behind that.
Yeah, so we were 1.5 miles from a truck shop, so I was able to get new fuel filter on. The bus started right up, and we spent the night there. I thought we had our fuel problems fixed, and when we were in Iowa. When we first got to Minnesota, we parked at a parking lot of a former place of her work for overnight because we were there after dark and we wanted to move during the daytime into our parking spot that we were going to stay at. When we went to go move the bus to the other parking spot we were going to be at in Minnesota, we made it 4 or 5 miles down the road, and the bus stopped moving again. This time it still felt like a fuel issue, and this is where I learned I had 2 fuel filters in my bus. I thought I had 1 fuel filter. I have 2. I also learned something very important about the other fuel filter. In that fuel filter, it's glass, and it has this line on it, and it says, if fuel reaches this line, replace the fuel filter. The fuel was always above that line. I thought it was on the suction side of the pump, so when the fuel pulled down below the line, that meant you needed a new filter. Nope. When the fuel was above that line, you needed a new filter. There's a filter inside of this glass piece. I thought it was the filter that screwed onto the bottom of this glass piece. I didn't realize there was 2 of them right next to each other. So when I replaced this upper fuel filter, now there's about 1 inch of fuel sitting in there, and the bus runs great. It's got us to Colorado here. We've run at 10,000 feet of elevation.
And someone has learned that sometimes reading the manual is a good thing.
Yeah, when I read the manual on the side of the road here in Minnesota, I have the PDF manual on a computer, and I'm reading it. It says, when the fuel line reaches up to, I'm like, up to? What do you mean? It's always been above it. And I read it again, and I read it again. I'm like, no way. But
yeah, and that was another time when it was really nice to have a vehicle. I mean, I know I didn't say anything, but we bought a Jeep in North Carolina, and I was driving it back and following the bus, so we were able to drive to the truck stop or the truck shop. And then when we were back in Minnesota and had this happen, I had swapped out the Jeep for my mom's vehicle, which is a little bit nicer in the winter, a little bit warmer, and we were able to drive across town and find what we needed at night so we could get the bus to my parents' house and not have to leave it on the side of the road at night.
yeah.
And one of the things about having a recognizable bus back in your home area is that people who know you have the bus and who know you're back in the area see you on the side of the road and stop.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how many 3 visitors on the side of the road.
One of the first things that we did when we got back to Minnesota was finish insulating like the ceiling of the bus, because I don't know if you know this, but when it's 20 below outside, it's really fucking cold.
Yeah, both diesel heaters on high, and the bus was, you'd wake up in the morning, it was like mid-50s.
Yeah, our propane got a workout. Our propane got a big workout. And then during the day, space heaters got a workout. And believe it or not, the sun actually will heat you up when it's 20 below, if it comes out.
But yeah, we ran 5 gallons of diesel fuel between the 2 diesel heaters every day, and 7 or 8 hours of generator use during the day. And
it was an expensive trip.
Yeah.
It was something that we needed to do, and we got it done. And we just needed a little bit of to get it done, because when you're in places that you don't really need it, you kind of put it off until you have to do it. My brother said to me that once it's livable, it's hard to finish it, and oh my gosh, he was not wrong.
For insulation, we use Ceratex. I believe it's 1/8 of an inch thick, the stuff that we used. I'm almost positive it's an 1/8 of an inch thick stuff we used. It's made for kilns, and wow, did it make a difference. Just that 1/8 of an inch. In between the steel frame of the bus, it's about 2-inch thick closed cell foam. But the beams were just, you could feel the cold drop down from the beam. So that 1/8 of an inch layer of Ceratex over everything made such a huge difference.
It did. It made a very, very big difference.
I didn't know Ceratex existed when I first started building the bus. Ivan used it on his bus, and that's where I learned about it. And like this wall behind us here, this wall has Ceratex on it because I did it in Minnesota. That wall just has the 1/2-inch pink foam, which just also has the 1/2-inch pink foam. There's times I wish I would have had Ceratex and everything.
It's about time we finally had some above freezing weather. I think it is 37 degrees right now. Oh, you see this sun? It's so gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. It's almost t-shirt weather out here. If there wasn't the littlest bit of breeze, this would totally be t-shirt weather. This is what I missed all last month, was just below zero and gross and cold and gray and cloudy. Big reason we left Minnesota in the first place. This is much, much better.
This large of an airline before. You can go pull the blocks out on the other side.
Hey, Sweater. How are you? Do you want to be in the video? Guess not.
Right.